Let's rock and roll.
All right. Welcome to the Football Frame of Mind podcast. This is episode 8. We are here to give you more content, more football content. But before we get started, how you doing, bro?
Well, we're doing good on this end. How about yourself?
I'm good. I'm good. Ready to talk some football, man.
Yes,
So
sir.
we broke down NFC South in our last episode. So this time we're going to break down the NFC West. Uh And we'll start with the champion. Obviously the 49ers took that conference with relative ease. It seemed like everybody couldn't get their act together until it was too late. So going into this season, man, what are you we're gonna start with the 49ers, obviously, because they're the champions, and then we'll go down
Yeah,
from there. But what do you think about the 49ers, man? They got a lot of stuff going on.
I think the Niners are in a really good spot. I mean, dude, they're deep at every position. Their defense is spectacular. Their offense, they've got great weapons. They bring back CMC. They got Elijah Mitchell. They've got Debo. I mean, they've still got George Kittle. They're waiting. I think they're still waiting to see if Purdy's going to be ready to go for week 1. But I think it's looking like he is. And if he plays anything like he did to close out last season, 49ers are a serious contender to come out of the NFC and make the Super Bowl, to be completely honest with you. I like them. I think they're one of the heavy favorites in the conference, and I would not be surprised if they would make it to a game again this year.
Okay, no, that was gonna be my next segue. Brock Purdy, man, that's where I start. I always thought that they made a mistake drafting Trey Lance,
Mm-hmm.
because you could have used that on another weapon. You obviously had a lot of guys available. I want to say Devontae Smith came in that draft too, so
Jalen Waddle.
you could have went either way, honestly, at receiver, or you could have drafted Drake London because I think he went earlier than both of those guys.
The
So
crazy thing is, they were supposed to draft Mac Jones and
yeah,
then
but
change
you
their
know what?
mind by like the last minute.
But you know what? I think they felt like they was getting the same thing in Jimmy Garoppolo as Mac Jones.
They felt
And
like the intangibles that Lance had were going to project higher.
right, but one thing they didn't really take into account is that he's a running quarterback. So the injury aspect is something that you have to consider when you're drafting a guy
Mm-hmm.
like that. And Jimmy Garoppolo is a great quarterback. I mean, he's a Super Bowl quarterback. So it sucked that he couldn't get healthy, but you knew that when you traded for him, right? So I think Brock Purdy should be good. I think he'll be really good. I think he can play. I don't think it's really hard for him to really just play in that system
He's
and do what
tough,
he
bro.
got to do. I don't like
He's
I said,
tough
I
as
don't think
nails.
you need him to be a pro bowler. You just need him to one stay healthy and not turn over the ball. That's it. And I think so far last season to close it out, he didn't turn the ball over much and he stayed healthy. So those two things they check out. So I think they'll continue to be the top dog in that conference in that division. And yeah, I think they'll be good. So I said I don't really have too much to say about the defense. It's good. It's legit.
That's a top 3 unit, bro. They're
It's not
stacked from
going
top to bottom.
anywhere. They didn't really lose no people. So and the people that matter are still there and they could just plug in from there. So like I said, obviously I want to mention Christian McCaffrey. I think him coming in last season at the end kind of just threw him off a loop. I think this year he's coming in with a fresh off season to work out to get into the system. And I think he's
Mhm.
really going to be able to benefit in that offense because it's a running offense and he's good in space. He can catch, he can run, he can pass block, everything. So if you watched the show before, you already know Brandon's high on Christian McCaffrey. So I expect them to do some good things. So as we transition down the division, let's talk about the team that finished second, man. If you like
Seattle.
Bobby, you only second is first loser. So
Mhm.
so yeah, so we're gonna talk about the Seahawks, man. I think this year's storyline for them is the growth of Kenneth Walker, man. There have been some great running backs to come through the Seattle Seahawks, and I think he's important for them moving forward. Like he has to be that guy. He can't like he's gonna have to be that dual threat guy out the backfield, running everything. We already know he's a downhill running back, so that's not
Mm-hmm.
even arguable, right? But the other storyline I want to really talk about is Geno Smith, man. So obviously Geno came out of nowhere, man. Like he was kind of a journeyman, honestly. He
Mm-hmm.
was the face of a franchise and then just kind of sat behind Russ and learned. And he really balled out last season, man. He was absolutely undeniably one of the best quarterbacks in the league last year.
Agreed.
From touchdowns to interception ratio, yards, big plays, whatever you want to do.
He was clutch last year, man.
Yeah, he was good, man, which is not the Geno Smith I admit that I knew. I did not know that Geno Smith at all.
Mm-hmm.
So he was looking like Geno in college, man, last
Mm-hmm.
season, and just absolutely just playing free and having fun, man. And I think it was good for him to really get it. So my thing is they gave him the money this offseason, obviously to shore up their quarterback situation. And let's just see what else he can do. I want to
Mm-hmm.
see if that was just a flash in the pan because people didn't have a chance to scout him a little bit, and let's see what he can do. What you think about
Mm-hmm.
the Seahawks, man?
Man, I'm kind of high on Seattle because I mean they don't really lose anybody. They bring back Bobby Wagner from LA after taking a 1 year rental. I mean, they brought him. They got Devin Bush coming. Gino, like you said, had a really good year. You still got DK. You still got Tyler Lockett. You draft JSN in the first round.
Mm-hmm.
I think Seattle, I don't see Seattle winning the division, but I think they're going to be a thorn in the 49ers' butt. And I could definitely see them squeaking out one of those extra wild card spots and maybe making a run for sure. I think the defense is still going to be good. They drafted Witherspoon as well. I think he's going to be really good. And I think the offense is going to take a step forward. Like you said, with the development of Walker and having three really good receivers to throw to, Seattle's going to be a good team this year for sure.
Man, understandable, man. Like I said, man, great points, man. I like the way they drafted, and Devin Bush is Devin Bush is a hitter, and I like him a lot. I like him a
Mm-hmm.
lot at linebacker, and then him with Wagner. If I think if you sign him for 2 years, this might be the best year out of the two because
Yeah.
last season was a wash for the Rams, and we'll get into them later. But last season was a wash for them, and they really probably didn't have much fun. But coming back to Seattle, I think it'll be really good for him. And then to pair him with another young linebacker and Devin Bush, I think that would be awesome. They're gonna be good on defense
Mm-hmm.
for real. So yeah, man. And then we go down to the Cardinals, man. One of my storylines is Kyler Murray, man. What are we gonna do with Kyler Murray? Like not we as in that's my team, but like if I'm asking them the question, what are they gonna do with Kyler Murray?
I think, man, Arizona's in a weird spot. That's a really weird spot because you just gave him a big extension, what, last season or before last season or something like that? I forget. But if I have to say anything about the Cardinals, they're in full rebuild mode. I don't see Arizona getting anything above 4 wins. And if they're not going to get above 4 wins, they're definitely going to be in top 5 in draft picks. So what I see them doing is not going to say tank to win, but I don't see them getting a whole bunch of wins. They're going to try to dump off that big contract. And if they could trade up to number 1, they're going to probably take whether it be Caleb Williams or Drake May. I mean, they're looking to probably trade Buda Baker too. I mean, that roster is depleted compared to where they were at 2-3 years ago when they still had Chandler Jones, J.J. Watt, D Hop. They just released him a month or so ago. So yeah, I definitely see Arizona being a lottery pick, and they're going to try to dump off that big contract.
I like what you said about Kyler Murray being kind of a trading piece because he hasn't played up to that number one thing, man. And they kind of
Mm-hmm.
missed out on 2 first round quarterbacks already. If you're looking at Josh Rosen a couple years ago, and then you're looking at Kyler Murray right now. So going into it, do you really want to rock the boat, man? But you know what? I'm not really opposed to them doing that because there's a new coach there. John Gannon. He was the defensive coordinator for Philly. Had a good unit last year, before the Super Bowl. Had a good unit. Obviously, had a really great pieces there. So I don't know if he has any new ideas that he wants to do. And I don't know if Kyler Murray, if he struggles, is going to be a part of that. So I think Kyler Murray has to do some soul searching and some growing up. And understand that, hey, man, you're the face of an NFL franchise, man. You're the NFL quarterback. So you got to act like it. You got to play like it. And
You getting paid
obviously
like it too.
losing D Hop for nothing wasn't necessarily the brightest idea, but something happened to the point where they got rid of him, man, and it just seemed like, I don't know, man. I just think you don't get rid of a guy that caught 100 passes in like 8 seasons or something like that, something crazy like that. Doesn't drop many passes and can beat anybody. So I don't know, man. But life after him is gonna be rough, and life after Kyler Murray might be rough too, man. So I don't know what direction they're going in. So I think out of all the teams, they will be the third team again in this division. Because as we transition into another team, the Rams, man, last team last year, lost a lot of games, but surprisingly, they have the most talent, man, but it's older talent. So,
Mhm.
we obviously know that they went and said F those picks and traded for, a Von Miller and Jalen Ramsey. And it worked. Obviously, you got a Super Bowl and everything, and Matthew Stafford too got a Super Bowl. So I think it worked out. But now we're what, 2-3 years removed from that Super Bowl. So
Mhm.
now what's up now? Like, what's the future looking like? Because you don't have any draft picks, definitely don't have any cap room. So what's next? And I don't know if there's gonna be suitors. I don't know if they're gonna get as much back for these players if they get rid of them. And I think they need to, man. I think they really need to think about trading some of these players away. I think Jalen Ramsey has a lot to offer to a team. But
Jalen Ramsey's not with them anymore.
yeah, but they're not gonna get anything back. You know what I'm saying?
No, they already traded him, Cam.
They did.
He's with Miami now.
Word. Okay.
Swear.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Well.
they traded him probably almost a month ago, I think.
Okay. Hey, what did they get back for him? If you can remember.
I don't think they got any really high draft picks. Maybe a
Okay.
third. I don't think they got anything higher than maybe a couple picks, but nothing higher than a third round pick though.
Right. So,
But
so that's my point. So you trade these guys away, and I don't know if you're gonna get back exactly what you want. So your
mhm,
rebuilding process might be a little slower. So I
mhm.
expect them to finish. I expect them to finish last in this division, and just kind of do that. But my biggest thing is that I want to ask you is, if they go into tank mode, what happens to Sean McVay?
I don't think they're letting go Sean McVay. I don't think that's even on the table. But I mean, it was already discussed that he was thinking about not wanting to rebuild and just leaving. I don't think the Rams finished last. I think they have a better roster than the Cardinals. I think the Cardinals are in utter disarray. But I
Hmm.
don't see because last year the Rams went 5-12, the Cardinals went 4-13. I think it's probably going to finish somewhere around that. But man, I would like to think he would stay to try to rebuild. But like you said, they have no draft capital, nothing to talk about. Your salary cap is it's a terrible
It's
situation. So I
toast.
mean, it's they're pretty much in the negative. And I mean, you're not going to get a lot back for these guys. Even if you wanted to trade everybody, like if you were going to trade Stafford, if you were going to trade some of these other guys, you're going to struggle for a little while. you're probably going to be at the bottom. If you end up going full rebuild and you do that, you're definitely going to be at the bottom of the barrel for sure.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I don't think that they are gonna do anything for real. I mean, even with the players that they have in terms of like an Aaron Donald or people like that, I just don't know if they have enough to compete with one, the 49ers, and
Or the
then
Seahawks.
two, and or the Seahawks. And then you're battling for last place if you're talking about the Seahawks, or I mean the Cardinals
Or
and
them.
them, right? So I don't know, man. I don't know. And I would go with the Cardinals beating them out in the conference simply because I don't know if Stafford can hold on to the ball, man. Like if his biggest thing is that he has such a big arm and he has such a great ability to hit the long ball. But he interceptions is his bugaboo, man. Like he can throw them all the time, anywhere. And I just think he's one of those guys that you really have to kind of think about, like what kind of value does he have? You know what I'm saying? I don't even know if he has any value.
They did draft a guy that's going to sit behind them. That might end up being worth looking at.
Like I said, if they go
That's
into tank mode, man, don't be surprised if they try to get the first overall pick and it's Caleb Williams because he's
it's
from
a
LA.
possibility, but I don't think they drafted Stetson Bennett for no reason, though.
Man, look, I don't care what nobody's saying. Stetson Bennett is not an NFL quarterback. I don't care what
Hey,
you
you
say.
never know.
He's not an NFL
If
quarterback.
AJ McCarron can get discussions to get like contract talks on all that, I think he could, man. I think he's kind of like AJ McCarron esque.
No, no. Stop falling for that, man. Stop falling for that. Stop falling. Don't drink that. Don't drink the Stetson Bennett Kool-Aid. Yes, he's a two-time national champion. I will give him that. But I'm not drinking that Kool-Aid. I'm not. I'm not doing it. Nope. I'm not gonna do it, man. I can't do it. Nope. Nope.
But
He gonna have to
I
show
think
me
we
something.
agree. I think
He
we
gonna have to
agree
show
on
me
how
something.
things shake up, though. Huh?
He gonna have to show me something. He gonna have to show me
Yeah, I
something.
think he's still got something to prove, but I don't think they draft him for no reason, though.
Yeah,
I think
shoot.
they might give him some looks. You never know.
Shoot. I mean the
I mean,
49ers.
he's with a good coach. I mean, if anybody could get something out of him, McVay can get it out of him.
True, true, true. I mean, 49ers got Brock Purdy, so they got him late in the draft. So those
And this
late
is
round draft
irrelevant. The
picks,
last pick.
yeah, they count. You know what I'm saying? They count if you start thinking about things, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, man. But yeah, as we, move forward, we discussed this conference division up and down. So obviously I think we both agree that the 49ers are coming out of this division.
Yeah, I don't think it's even up for, unless they have some really bad, because they have struggled with the injury bug the last few years. Unless the injury bug takes out like a lot of their really good players, I don't see Seattle beating them twice. Like I don't see Seattle winning the division unless something drastic happens. I think the 49ers are a shoe in.
Yeah, but I expect the games to be really competitive though,
Oh yeah, I
especially
agree.
between the Seahawks and 49ers. So I expect that for real. So transitioning out of the breakdown to our favorite segment, man. Top five segment, man. We enjoy doing this. I enjoy doing it with you because you give some very good perspective. And sometimes our lists are completely different. Other times,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes they mirror each other. But like I said, I love to hear what you say. So like I said, I'll start off this one, man. But our top five list today is the NFC West best teams of all time. This is a conference. This is a division that's been very, very competitive, man. Like people think about the 49ers teams, and it'd be easy to make a top five list with all five teams being 49ers, but there were some really good teams from other representatives in this division. So, like I said, I'll start. I'll start, man. My top five list is interesting. Like I have some interesting teams, but I think we might have a few of the same. I say that.
Okay, let's talk.
So my first team is the 89 49ers. that squad. I forgot who they played in the Super Bowl, but they end up winning.
Denver.
Denver.
They played Denver.
Yeah. So if my calculation is correct, that was probably one of the worst Super Bowls ever because the game was over in the first quarter. So yeah. Yep. One of John Elway's tough Super Bowl losses. We'll say that. But like I said, the team was stacked with 3 first team all pros, including Montana, Jerry Rice, and Ronnie Lott. So that speaks for itself if you got those guys balling out like that. And it showed in the Super Bowl, man, they were clearly the best team, right? So obviously I think they would have loved to get a three-peat because I believe they won in 88 and they won in 89, but they ended up losing to the Giants the next year in the NFC championship game, which started the Bills' tough run in the Super Bowl. But like I said, 89 49ers, number 1 on my list. 84 49ers is number 2 on my list because
Okay, so you're starting from 1 to 5.
Huh?
You're starting from number 1 to 5?
Yeah, I'm starting with 1 to 5.
Okay.
We'll switch it up.
Okay. It threw me off. I'm like, wait a minute. I know he didn't put them boys at 5. No, you're good. I got you.
We're going 1 to 5 because we're going 1 to 5 simply because they're too good to leave out of the conversation. Like, because the list of you'll know where we're going with it. So I just start 1 after that. So number 2 on my list, I'm gonna go with the 84 49ers, man. I call them the Dan Marino stoppers, man, because Dan Marino if you understand, Dan Marino came into this league something different. Like he
came in red hot.
Red hot. So he's that team right there is on my list because they were tasked with stopping Dan Marino from taking this league over. Like if he wins a Super Bowl in 84, do you understand?
We're having a much different conversation.
Do you understand how big that is? Because he was already in the running for MVP because he hit 5,000 yards. He's the first quarterback to do that. So you already know that he's probably going to be even bigger than he was if he wins that Super Bowl.
Oh, dude, they probably stopped that dynasty. If they beat them, they might not go on that tear like they did. The Dolphins might turn around and try to win a few for sure.
Yeah, so like I said, maybe you see it league's a little different, right? But I think that team has to be on the list because they had to stop somebody that was on a tear. And it took a team effort to beat him because he could put up some points on you. So obviously they probably didn't play very good defense, but hey, you don't need defense when you can score 40 sometimes, man. And that team definitely stopped Dan Marino and on my list. Number 3 is you probably know where I'm going. The 99 St. Louis Rams, man, greatest show on turf, dog. I could have easily been a homer and put them number 1, but that'd be disrespectful to the 49ers dynasty that they had throughout the 80s and stuff. So but 99, man, what a year. Obviously we start off the year with Trent Green as quarterback, gets hurt in the preseason, and the rest is history. We have this grocery bagger named Kurt Warner, and he just goes on to to lead us to the Super Bowl, our first one in franchise history. Don't forget that, young kids. 2020 was not the first Rams championship. That was the first one in LA, but they got one already. So, like I said, Kurt Warner goes on and does a clean sweep, man. MVP, Super Bowl MVP, and just does his thing, man. But people don't understand how important Marshall Faulk was. Marshall Faulk was, I think, brought in maybe a year or so before, but he was a main person, man. He was tough out there, man. But I can't go on. Everybody thinks about offense, man, but defense, they had some guys. Obviously, Drake Blythe, we spoke about him in one of our college episodes, man. He was a stud out there. Dexter McCleon, people don't understand that name.
Yeah, he was really good too.
But those 2 guys kind of locked those receivers down, man. So the team was stacked on both sides of the ball, and they did their thing, man. So yeah, number 3 on my list. Number 4, I kind of flip flop. I wanted to put this team above them because of the defensive guy that I am.
Yeah, I think me and you are going to be pretty similar.
Yeah. Uh,
Okay, what you got?
but I couldn't do that because I am a homer. But number 4 is 2015 Seahawks, man. Legion of Boom. I can't make a list without putting them on there. They had a good run with those group of guys, culminating in a Super Bowl destruction against the Denver Broncos. And it was rough, man. It was a rough day for those Denver Broncos. But I love the way they played defense. And one interesting fact about their team on defense is that they never really got a lot of penalties for legal hits. So a lot of their hits were legal and tough. And I love how they built their secondary as kind of the thing on their defense, man. It made their defense aggressive, and you could plug and play as long as you had those 4 guys back there, hitting people and stopping people from catching the ball, man. So I love Richard Sherman. I love how they mixed that extra corner. Whoever it was, you can plug in a Revis, you can plug in Brandon Browner, you can plug in anybody in there to be on the other side of Richard Sherman because you know who's going to be there, right? And then you drop in some other guys, like you put anybody there. It's almost like having Deion Sanders on one side. You can just, as long as you do your job on the other
The
side.
secondary was tough, bro. With Cam
Yeah,
Chancellor on them,
yeah,
they were.
Chancellor and Earl Thomas back there doing stuff. So yeah, so that defense was tough and it was aggressive and a lot of blitzes, man. And then like I said, I could put another 49ers team up there as my 5, but I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna put the Arizona Cardinals in '08. That run they did was crazy. With another guy that we all know, grocery bagger, who played for
Kurt
the
Warner.
Iowa Barnstormers in arena football, Kurt Warner. One of his last swan songs of a career. But boy, what was it, man? Obviously, he went on the run, did some things, did some great things, man. They had some good players on that team, man. He just kind of put it all together. He was the missing link, man, because they had some good defenders. I want to say Antrell Rowe was on that team. I want to say Carlos Dansby was on that team. I think Calais Campbell was on that team. So some
Yep.
really tough defenders, man. And that's just defense, man. Offense, man. You had Anquan Bolden and Larry Fitzgerald on the outside. I want to say Steve Breston running the slot. So they had a
Mm-hmm.
really good team to go through a lot of people, man. And it
If it
was,
wasn't for Antonio Holmes.
yeah, exactly. If it wasn't for one of the greatest catches in Super Bowl history, they'll have one, man. But that team right there, I thought was definitely one of the best teams in NFC West history, man. And like I said, that was just because you don't win the Super Bowl doesn't really hurt your chances on my list in a sense because, like I said, man, sometimes you just meet a better team. And that year, you can't say that the Pittsburgh Steelers in '08 wasn't the better team. They had
They
chip.
were both stacked, but the Steelers had a better roster.
Yeah, see what I'm
And
saying?
they had
Like,
experience. A lot of those guys were on that other team when they still had Jerome Bettis on them. So
yep.
the
So,
experience was there.
yep. So, like I said, sometimes you just meet a better team, man. That's why the Super Bowl is awesome, man, because you get 2 interesting storylines. But as far as the NFC West is concerned, they're definitely on my list. So, what you think?
Well, I'm gonna keep things interesting, but it's damn near. I will just be honest. We didn't discuss anything. We didn't disclose anything. We didn't show our cards to either one. So if anybody wants to be, oh, no, we're going off a lot of the same sources, a lot of the same stats, stuff like that. I just think we share a lot of the same ideals and values. But I'll start with 5. I've got the same 5. I've got the '08 Cardinals too. I think the '08 Cardinals were really special. Like you said, the defense was really good. I like the offense with Kurt. You had Fitz, Anquan, Steve Breston, Early Doucette. He had a lot of good weapons.
How about him?
They played really well in that game. The only 2 things I say that did them in was that fumble return by James Harrison, almost 100 yards for a touchdown. They recovered. Fitzgerald caught that pass over the middle and took it for a touchdown, and everybody thought it was game over. But here comes Big Ben, final drive, fourth quarter money drive, and he puts the ball in a place that only Santonio Holmes can get it. Probably one of the most underrated Super Bowls ever that I think I would like to go back and watch. I think it was just a really good battle of back and forth. But yeah, Cardinals are definitely top 5. Even if you're not trying to just squeeze those specific teams in, I think they should be top 5 regardless.
Most definitely. Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, I've got the same 4 as you. I've got 2013 Seattle Seahawks, Legion of Boom.
Okay.
I think that defense was historically good. The offense was obviously still young with Russell Wilson. I think within his first 3 years, that defense carried them the entire way. And they were definitely underrated going into that game, going against Peyton Manning, Wes Welker, Demaryius Thomas. Dude, they were loaded. There's no way that Denver should have flopped the way they did. But Seattle put that whooping on them boys, and they laughed them out of the building. I don't even know if Denver even scored a touchdown in that game, if I'm not mistaken. But if they did, must have
They
been
scored one.
in garbage time.
Just one.
Well, it must have been in garbage time because I think they won by damn near almost 40 points.
Yeah, it wasn't pretty. It wasn't pretty at all. But one thing about
if you go back and watch the Super Bowl, don't go back and watch that one. Not worth your time. But Seattle, that's a historically good team.
One thing about that Super Bowl people don't understand is what kind of messed the Broncos up was losing that left tackle and right tackle before that game. That messed up everything, all their timing, because that just sent everybody on blitzes, man. That's how really
he had no time in the pocket. They were in the backfield every time he'd take a snap. It didn't matter if he was under center and shotgun. They were back there.
Yeah, that's what really set Malcolm Smith off, man, and kind of turned him into a really great linebacker. He made a lot of money after that, winning Super Bowl MVP and everything. So that's what kind of set him off, man, because they sent him on blitzes. Everybody was just ready to go, man. So I wish they would have got another one, but we all know how that went. But like I said, they did their thing, man. I like that a lot. Yeah.
So up to this point, we're still the same. Number 3, I'm going 99 Rams. Greatest show on turf. Probably one of the most prolific offenses I think either one of us has ever gotten the privilege to watch. You're working with Kurt Warner. You got Marshall Faulk. You got Torrey Holt. You got Isaac Bruce. A lot of good playmakers on defense. That team was on a mission, and I don't think anybody's seen that train coming. Nobody had their ticket punched, but they did. They ran the table, and they made it the entire way, and they shocked a lot of people. And, I mean, if you want an offense to be able to go up and down the field and score whenever the hell they want, that's the offense. I think historically good team, underrated defense, but really, really good offense. I've got the 99 Rams at 3. My 2, I think our 1 and 2 might. Let's see. So my 2, I've got the 89 49ers. Okay. 14-2 in the regular season. Really dominant. I mean, there's not too much you really have to say. Joe Montana, Jerry Rice, I mean, Dwight Clark, all those guys. John Elway didn't stand a chance. When you lose 55-10, I mean, it's not much to talk about. I mean, all love to John Elway, probably one of my favorite quarterbacks ever. It wasn't his time to shine. It was the Joe Montana train, and man, they ran the train because they left them completely out of the building.
Man.
But number 1, dude, you got to go with the 84 Niners. Like 15-1 in the regular season. The fact that you meet Miami in the Super Bowl, that's probably one of the most important games ever because, like we said, Dan Marino was hot. Hot. First quarterback to ever throw for 5,000 yards before Drew Brees did it again in, I think, like 2010 or whatever. If they lose that game, the whole football landscape might be completely different. We don't know.
Bro,
but
the Dan Marino conversation is completely different, dude.
Oh, no, he's going to win more than one ring if that's the case. If they beat the Niners there, he's walking away with at least 3.
Man,
I mean, it's a crazy what if.
That's crazy the disrespect Dan Marino gets, man. Like, he literally revolutionized passing.
He's probably got one of the quickest releases I've ever seen.
Man.
Just as probably top 5 most accurate quarterbacks ever. Man, the guy could put a freaking ball in a bucket whenever the hell he wanted. But I think 49ers defense should get a lot more credit. They held that offense to only 16 points. And Joe Montana and then put 38 on that Miami defense. Really good game. I really wish the Dolphins would have kept it closer, but I guess the 49ers just really honed in on Marino and if you can hold that offense to 16 points, that's very impressive. Because, man, he was young at that point. Early, he was, I think, his second year. Yeah, because he got drafted in 83, if I'm not mistaken. That must have been his second year. I mean, dude, that's so impressive. We could probably have a whole side conversation about him and what if they win that game. But yeah, 84
Yeah.
Niners only lose one game all year. That's number one in my book, hands down.
All right, no, we flip flopped, man. We flip flopped. We flip flopped, man. That, like I said, that 84 and 89, bro. You could literally flip flop, man. It really, like I say, both were dominant 49ers teams. Actually, all their Super Bowl teams, for real.
I mean, you can make a top five just with them if you wanted to, but I mean, where's the fun in that? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like I
These
said,
other
I could
teams
have
are really good.
replaced good list by the way. Good list by the way. But I could easily have replaced the Cardinals with the 94 49ers
Yeah.
with Steve Young. I could have easily
But
replaced
nobody talks about that team, dude. Steve Young don't get credit either.
yeah, man. And and what's crazy is the Super Bowl wasn't even supposed to be the Chargers that year. It wasn't supposed to be them. It was supposed to be the Steelers and the 49ers that year. But Junior Seau, rest in peace, had one of the greatest games a linebacker could ever have. I want to say he had like
Hall of Famer, dude. Junior Seau was the truth.
he had like 20 tackles that day and single-handedly just messed up the Steelers couldn't do anything. He was just on every play, every pass play, every run play. He was playing a man's game that day. And he really messed up their chances to win, man. Just rough time for those 90 Steelers teams, man. They really I think they lost the Super Bowl, but they had some really good teams that could have won. And
Nobody talks about those '90s Steelers teams.
yeah,
Nobody talks because
but because they won all those Super Bowls in like the
in the
70s
70s.
and the 80s, Super Bowl. So it's tough to talk about them because they were so used to winning. So for like what, almost 20 years, you don't win anything?
You got to think they've only had like 3 head coaches in their entire existence. I mean,
Bruh,
so I mean, that's a discussion for another day, but it's definitely worth talking about.
yeah. Like I said, we call it our closing arguments after our top 5 list. But yeah, this is our closing argument segment, man. But once we get into the franchises, man, we gotta definitely do a list of the top 5 franchises, man,
Oh yeah, that's definitely gonna happen.
because it's some franchises that are known for winning. It's some franchises that are known for cultural differences. There are franchises that are money makers, and there are franchises that kind of combine all three. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, man, it's definitely gonna be a good conversation, man. Definitely.
Great, hands down. That's definitely something that a lot more people should talk about because I mean, there's so many aspects that make teams legendary. Not just great teams, great coaches, great organizations, great general managers, great traditions. Like there's so much to talk about
Yeah,
and
for real.
respect.
Like a lot of people don't talk about Ozzie Smith or not Ozzie Smith, Ozzie Newsome being as important as he was to the Cleveland Browns, man. Like I said, he played there, obviously Hall of Famer. He should be a
Great
Hall of
freaking
Famer.
general manager.
Yeah, he should be a Hall of Fame general manager too. And he should get in there probably 3 times because he was a Hall of Fame player, Hall of Fame scout GM, and contributor. Because you contributed to 2 franchises technically, even though the Cleveland Browns and Ravens are the same team, you should
Yeah,
still
that's two
do that.
different completely. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
so
agree.
like people don't understand how important he was, man. So and changing the mold, as far as African American like GM, he made it cool because he was the first one to really start winning as anything. Now it helps that you are a Hall of Fame player, but how many Hall of Fame
Agreed.
players have we seen like not be good at coaching or GM or even owning teams sometimes? So we've seen that not work out, but it was pretty cool to see him do that. You know what I'm saying? I wish he would have kind of stayed and stayed with the Ravens, but his time was up. But like I said, I think,
He definitely paid his dues though, man. He should get a lot more talk about than he does.
man, I'm telling you. But yeah, man, this is episode 8, man. We're gonna close it out. This was the NFC West breakdown. Hope you enjoyed that in our top 5 segment as always, man. So before we get out of here, how you doing? I mean, what you gotta say? My bad.
I'm always gonna say is like, comment, subscribe. Make sure to hit that bell notification so you don't miss any of the videos we're putting out. We're breaking out each individual division. We've done the NFC South. We've done the West. We're going to be doing the North next. There's a lot of really cool things to talk about the NFC North, a lot of really historic teams. But you guys just be patient. It seems like a lot of people are starting to jump on, and I'm not going to harass anybody and be like, oh, subscribe. No, but if you want to really get some good, wholesome football content that a lot of other people probably aren't going to touch on, then you're in the right place. And we really appreciate y'all.
Couldn't have said it better myself, man. All right, man. This is a Football Frame of Mind podcast, episode 8. We ready to go. All right. Hey, let's get it. We up out of here.
Yes, sir.